folks, we've had a very unexpected run-in, and folks, here at the KOE Nation, we don't make you wait for the main event. We bring you the big shit now when it's here for you. So, folks, we've got a man that you need to see. A man for you, a man for me, a man for all within sundry. The one, the only, Tyberius motherfucking D. How are we doing there, Ty?
You always know how to make a man feel welcome, I tell you what.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, there's two big reasons that I'm glad that you came here today. Two very big ones. First of all, you said you had to stroke my ego, which is huge.
Yeah.
Like there's never I'm a never-ending well of that. But also earlier, Ty. For those who do not know, I'm also a part of Tyberius D's Discord, which follow him not only on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitch, every possible social media site. Follow Tyberius D. I mean, come on, if you're not, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
I mean, honestly, I'm a little disappointed. But you also said I was right about something, Ty. So what was that I was right about? I'm curious.
So that's the stroking your ego part. All right. So we'll condense this all into one. For anyone who doesn't know, me and our good friend KOE have sparred very much when it comes to free speech, right? Because I'm of the opinion, just in what I've seen over the last couple of years, is that if you just open the fucking floodgates, everyone talks about anything and everything, and you just they just don't shut up. And there's a level where I kind of miss back going to the 90s, where it's we all got the same news, and if you believed in flat Earth, you just were seen as the village idiot. And now that's not the case anymore, right? Anti-vaxxers, fucking flat earthers, all this shit. It's here, it's there, it's open, it's everywhere, right? I hate it. I fucking despise it. And there's a part of me that's like, you know what, let's go back. But there's also the level where I've kind of had to come to full reality. Number one is that they've tried to do censorship to some degree, right? Where they're just I'll call it social censorship, to where it's yeah, you can post something on Twitter, but Twitter might hit you for it, or fucking, YouTube might hit you for it, or more particularly, it's that all the people who are involved will just tell you it's you're stupid and you don't know anything. Now, I don't think that the majority of the claims that have been made out there were wrong. I think the experts were right overwhelmingly compared to the average bloke. But what it does come down to is this. Censorship isn't working either. And I don't like the whole, let the sun shine out on the disinfectant narrative.
Sunshine is the greatest disinfectant.
Yeah, that's your narrative. I hate that. But there's also a level where I'm all right, we've seen this in history. What happened then? And what happened in history is that it requires individual actors to actively be able to recourse what is over the top, past the line, right? So the last time that we actually had this level of degree where more people could engage in the conversation was, ironically enough, back in the 1880s when we had mass media print newspapers. Now, that did not mean that we put in a whole land of censorship and just let anybody and everybody talk about anything. That became kind of the narrative for the time, but we didn't make a bunch of censorship where we just made it where you just couldn't talk about certain things. What eventually happened is that we did two things. One, everyone got tired of the bullshit because you had political candidates literally making, prints of their opponents where they're just oh, you're a cross-dressing peasant or some shit like that, right? It got to the point of ridiculousness, and people got tired of it after a while, because when you live in a world of extreme, sooner or wild extreme becomes normal. So sorry, Phil K.O.E. You can't be the king of extreme forever, because eventually extreme is normal.
Well, you see, Ty, that's it. When I began this, the journey will be over when every single person on the internet agrees with me. When that happens, then I'll be okay. Now I've accomplished. Now I can stop. But that will be when it's over. But so. So continue, sir. So in what aspect are you saying I was right about? I'm just curious.
So here's my thing. Number one, I'm not a big fan of how.
I'm not gloaty. I'm legitimately curious.
No, you're fine. I got that, and I wanted to kind of bring that full circle. Is that on one side, I think that we've come into a new age where anyone and everyone can say anything and everything, and as long as you can read the room, you can say it, right? So if you posted in 4chan, you can post 4chan things, right? I despise that because I find it blatantly uncivilized. We need to have a proper society. Where's my bow tie?
Monaco.
I'm gonna play up the memes because that's what we do here, right? So on that ride, is that I am disgusted, and there's definitely a level of like the authoritarianness in me that's like, you all need to shut up. But people have been trying to do that, and they're not really succeeding. And in fact, it seems to be every time that they, try to clamp down on this bullshit, and it is 90% bullshit, is it seems to just blow up in their damn face. So that's not working either, and I have to admit that. And I think the reality here is no matter what happens, we're going to be upset. And I think we're going to have to, or I think we, but also I'm going to have to get used to the reality that we're going to have, at least for the next probably 10, 20, maybe even 30 years, a bunch of bullshit out in the woods that we have to just sift through. Now, I hopefully, like, we just get better bullshit detectors because, like, we get so experienced with dealing with these ludicrous level of claims that we can eventually get good at calling it out for what it is. But until then, I think I'm just going to have to, live in the world of the overwhelming headache that is extreme. It is the realm of Phil K.O.E. The extreme is here. The era of big claims and bad dissertations is here. And so, congratulations, Phil. Your dream is real. Your dream is real.
Well, I mean, to give kind of an interesting bookend to this and to tie it into modern events, when I say sunlight is the best disinfectant, just look at what happened when they gave 3 hours of sunlight to Kanye West yesterday.
I hate that.
Got very disinfected. Like, at this point, it's like,
have you ever, like, okay, so somebody has told me this once, but like earlier in the year, but now it's a thing. It's like, why is it that Alex Jones is now having interviews on his show where he's coming off as sensible compared to the other people that are on his show?
Well, it's like this joke that I keep bringing up. It's like Alex Jones and that show's like, please do not make me the voice of reason here. It's like, Jesus God, man. Like, I was listening to some of these clips and like, I don't wonder like what the fuck is even going through his head? Does he think he's doing something, or I don't even know? But
I don't know honestly what's going on. I haven't even watched this interview because apparently, what was it? Him or Kanye and Fuentes were both on what was it, Tim Pool's show, I think, and then they were on I wanted to say Glenn Beck, but they were on Alex Jones, right? And so they're all making the rounds, and apparently not only does high school never end, but we are seeing the real life version of Twitter politics now becoming real politics. And so where's my monocle? You all are scumbags, sir. But now that we're here, is that I have to accept the reality that you all suck, and I have to live with it.
Oh, it's like most people suck kind of bad. Like, there's quite a few of them out there that are really like, and that's the problem. But you know what? Hey, it's like a poem that I read called the Diserata just the other day, and it says, and listen to all people, even the dull, the ignorant, they too have their story. And so it's the unfortunate reality is, yeah, we've got a lot of bad ideas out there. There's a lot of bad ideas out there, Ty, but we just got to let them have their sunlight. There we go. Yes. How can we possibly profit off of this? My goodness.
Yeah, so I got to something for the appropriate size. Just be like,
I was kind of giving you a hard time. It's like, good Lord, Ty, you are just on an authoritarian lefty arc, and you're like, Phil, okay, fuck you just a little bit.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I know, like, okay, number one, I'm authoritarian, but in some regards, I'm not gonna act like I'm not. But I'm more authoritarian right than left by a country mile. I can give you my authoritarian left takes, but like I can give you my authoritarian right takes if y'all want them. So yeah.
Oh, nice. No, I've always appreciated the fact that you're a moderate, but you're more on the right side of things. It's like there's some folks that kind of creep around your Discord. That's like they say they're moderate, but they certainly seem a lot more lefty than anything else. But no, I appreciate you coming on and saying that, sir, because we do have these back and forths once in a while, and it's not like, oh, it's all over, it's been decided, but like not like this is the Wild West we're going to have of the internet for a few more decades, and there's going to be bad ideas out there. And like, Here's just something to know, folks. Don't pay anybody anything in gift card VIN numbers. Like, yeah, like those bad ideas are eventually just going to have to get weeded out, and like it's going to take some time. Like, it's unfortunate, but yeah, those are the that's the world we live in, where sure you can clamp down on information, but at what cost, and who's to decide who gets like.
So I don't know whose take or which left it or which take this is, but I'll give it this. There's a lot of people that don't trust institutions on both the right and the left. The left acts like we have just become so blatantly conservative that nothing is ever going to change, and we're going to be stuck in the conservative hellscape for all in eternity, right? And I'm just like, y'all are fucking stupid, right? But then I've got the right wing, and I'm like, you know what? The right wing's usually just more competent. The right wing can get shit done when they usually want to. Like, I don't think the Democrats can, I don't think the Democrats can honestly govern themselves out of a fucking paper bag. But when it comes down to it, what the problem the right has right now is they feel like everyone's out to get them. And I'm like, look, I see how you look when you're like, oh, the social media, right wing getting thrown off. To some degree, that's true. But also, like, some of y'all, I've seen some of your takes. I've seen the way you talk to folks. Not you, Phil, but I've seen a lot of others, right? And quite honestly, I wouldn't want to sit down and have a beer with you either. Some of y'all are fucking degenerates, and you got to stop being like that, because you wouldn't be welcome in anyone's house, let alone mine.
The memesters. Yeah, there's some folks that's like their memeing is their most important thing they do in their day. So yeah, I definitely get like the meme right, but I love the meme right.
The meme right's funny. I like the meme right. It's not the meme right. It's these folks that look at, I'll put it this way. They look out the world and they're like, man, the world went too insensitive. Man, everyone's offended about everything. Little true. Don't disagree with that. But there's some people, it's like, look, you don't even get sensitivity. You don't even get that people have a different perspective from you. And you don't get why people actually might have an offense whenever you say something incredibly stupid. I'm not saying you, obviously. I'm just talking about these folks in general. No, there's a lot of people out there that I'm serious. It's just like, I don't know if the mask just comes off whenever they get online. That's probably what it is more often than not. But when it comes
to a few percentage.
But when it comes down to it, like I'll give you three big ones. Number one, Christians that fucking lord their religion over everybody else. Nah, like we got enough of you guys in the fucking 90s, particularly here in Indiana. Like you're not really welcome anymore in public society. This is why people bash on Christianity so much, because you make them look bad. You make the brothers of the church look really
well. It's also easy and loud. Like if you notice, like I've kind of joked, like there's only a handful of people that you're allowed to like make fun of in a comedy special, and it's like fat people, Christians, and like just like a handful of other folks. And then if you happen to be a member of Group X, you can now make jokes about Group X. And it's kind of this weird rule in comedy. So I've just noticed it because like every stand-up special's got some sort of Christian bit for a few minutes. It's easy and nobody really gets offended anymore by it.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely levels. It's like, look, I actually want to see religion kind of come back in this country. I hate this secular religion of wokeism. I think it's trash. And it's like the worst bits of it's the worst bits of Christianity, ironically enough, that have kind of come full circle. And so as an example here, is that Christians used to believe in original sin, and that's largely gone by the wayside. Wokeism's brought it back. And I don't want to see that come back. I don't. Like, that is a horrible idea.
Well, here's the thing that makes it even worse, and this is why I think wokeism is eventually going to die, because wokeism has original sin with no possibility of redemption. Because with Christianity, you can be as fallen and debauched as you can possibly be, but there's still a path to redemption once again if you truly seek it. With wokeism,
Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, right?
Yes. So long as you accept him as your Lord and Savior. And it's kind of like the difference between a promise, if you really mean it or not. You know, it's like, but with wokeism, once you have sinned against the church of woke, you are forever a heretic.
Yeah.
and must be destroyed. And so that's why it's eventually going, because it's like a snake eating its own tail. The minute it ever starts to get a little bit of momentum, it eats its own tail.
It's an Ouroboros, and like we've seen this with Me Too, we've seen this with BLM. Like these social movements, they pop up and they do really good for a month or maybe a couple months, and then they literally just burn out and they eat themselves alive. Like Chaz is a great example of this, right? People are like, "Hey, we've got a problem with our police." All right, cool. Most right wingers have a problem with their police. Okay, police are not exactly the friends of anybody right now, to be honest.
That's like the right's like I was just seeing some folks that were spreading memes earlier, and they're talking about like, oh, if you want to defund the police, start with the FBI. And so that's where the right.
Most of that's just in response to fucking the Trump raids. But let's be real here. If you want any true like right wing memes, fucking IPA's got some of the best ones, right? He's got the what is it, the Halloween special for the ATF, right? You role play as an ATF agent where you have your dog and you put an ATF dog collar on him. What it is that the leash handle looks like a gun.
Yep. I saw that. I was like,
scathing.
Ouch. So yeah, IPA. His memeing is a national treasure. It really is. So
look, the libertarian right memes, and they meme good. They meme great.
I got to give you that. Like, so even with like everything that's been going on the last few days, it's like, okay, when are the memes gonna hit? And I sent you one of the spicier ones that I saw. It was like, oh man,
so fucking funny.
I was like, yeah, I like when I first saw that, I was like, damn it, dude. So yeah, the meme right is just way ahead. And I've noticed that lefties hate memes. Like the more left you are, the more you hate memes. It's kind of like this weird, like inverse correlation here. And I think it's because, now correct me if I'm wrong here, I've always said like leftists are good at creative endeavors that require a lot of collaboration. Fucking folks that kind of end up on the right tend to be better at creative endeavors that are more solo. So like making memes. So folks on the right are just going to be generally better at that. While things that like require collaboration, like theater, like music, things like that are going to be something where the left kind of excels more. So I don't know if it doesn't one for one correlate, but I do think there's something to that.
There's some levels where I don't think you're off the mark by too much, but it's also one of these deals to where honestly, I think a lot of the left views the majority of memes as beneath them. Like they become classist, and it's hilarious. But think about who the majority of the left are. It's not some it's not some poor black folks or Hispanic folks or whatever. It's literally the left has now become a bunch of college educated dipshits that think they're better than everybody else. And that's really what we're looking at. It's a bunch of fucking snooty ass white people.
Yeah, because it's like a Chad Daniels bit where he talks about how he calls in to pay off a parking ticket, and they get disconnected in the middle of the call, and he reconnects. And he says, oh, okay, there's only 8 people in that call center. Great. Well, just reconnect me with the lady that was talking. Well, is there any way you can, I don't have her name, but she was black. And the lady goes, sir, that is racist. Well, I can tell you're white. Because that's what white ladies do. They get offended on other people's behalf for no reason. So it's like, that I totally get that. But Ty, I have a mea culpa that I have to give to you as well. Since you've admitted that I might have been right on free speech, I should, it's in the Christmas season. In the spirit of giving, I'm going to give a mea culpa to you as well. When you said that the right overturning Roe v. Wade 5 months before a midterm might cost a wee little bit of an electoral victory, might have a wee little something to do with that. I was like, no, come on, it's all gonna be good time. It's gonna be fucking rainbows and sunshine. Like, oh damn it, this one was well, we took the house. We fucking took the house. God damn it. Like, that's
by the skin of your teeth.
Skin of our chinny chin chin. We took that fucking house, and god damn it, fuck you, Biden. Now we want to impeach you even more, you son of a bitch. But
Nah, dude, like I thought there were some good points. Like the whole like Americans having the attention span of a goldfish thing's kind of real. Like, you know, literally once things get out of the news cycle, like people aren't even talking about Ukraine anymore. It's still going. There's that, like the Ukrainians just took Kherson not too long ago. Most people don't even know. That's real. It's absolutely real. But I think people are now in the realization that there's real shit on the floor. And I'm going to put this as both a good and a pro for everybody. The end of Roe kind of opened the door for everybody in realizing that everything's on deck. Because the right's like, hey, we don't lose every single issue now. Like the right's like, oh, hey,
we got to win two even. Abortion and guns.
True.
Which that's never happened in my whole life as a right winger.
And
we get to win two things?
You're probably on track for a third. Next year is going to be affirmative action. It's probably going. Affirmative action is probably getting shit, or is probably going out the door. I'm serious. Howdy. That was supposed to be this year. They deferred the case till next year, but that's the I think it's Yale, but it might be Harvard. But one of them, the Asian students. Yeah, it's one of the Ivies, and I think that actually the whole Ivy League's on deck anyway for this. Is that the Ivy League did the numbers, and they said that of their student body, if they went with who actually applied, 55% of their student body would be Asian. 33% would be white, and then everybody else would follow in suit. And that's the argument that these students have gone, is that the Asian community is only getting like 13% of the slots. And they're like, hey, we should have 55 by their own admission. And they're suing over it. And it is now gotten so big that it is going to the Supreme Court. It's already technically there, but they keep deferring it. But it will probably be done next year. Call up your good friend Nate if you get a chance, because he can talk about this a little bit. But the long and the short is this: it's not just going to be about diversity quotas just in the universities. It's pretty much going to do anything and everything that's going to be about hiring based upon race is going to be open on deck for the Supreme Court to go after.
Oh my God.
I don't know if
could you imagine if Clarence Thomas writes that majority opinion?
I bet he will. Ironically enough, this is where the right can do race real. Is that you have people who are among the right who are really pissed off as minorities, because you do have conservative black folks. You really have a lot of conservative Hispanic folks. And I totally see the right kind of pushing their version of the left's game, where they're like, oh, cool, you want minority voices? Cool. Here's some of ours. And they can write the legislation, because you can find a political diaspora among every group of people in this country, whether it's white folks, whether it's natives, whether it's Asians, what have you. There's people who are left wing and right wing. Like, the only reason, I'm going to say this for my right wing friends out there in the audience, the only reason that you got brothers out there voting 90% Democrats is because you ain't listening. You listen a little bit, you might actually find a few more votes, particularly in some places that you really need, like Georgia.
That's why when Trump said, black community, what have you got to lose? It was actually a very good sales pitch at the time, like in 2016. Like, he was an unknown, and it was a good and like, I think any Republican politician should kind of take that kind of stance, because look at what voting for the Democrats for 70 years has gotten the black community. It's like it, and so it's whether you agree with it or not, you have to agree it's a good pitch.
No, I would go a little further. But this is also me. I want a government of action. I don't want a government that just kind of sits there and tells you what you want to hear. The problem is that's both Republicans and the Democrats. I would say, hey, look, not only should you vote for Republicans, but here's the policy which you should vote for that we're going to push for. Now, if they actually do it or not, whatever. But this is what the weird thing is with the Trump numbers. The black community in the South has picked up for Republicans. Not a lot. It's only been a couple points. But in Florida, a little bit in Georgia, Texas, some of these folks are voting Republican, and they haven't been doing that before. They're not doing that in the North.
I'm sorry. Bandit Claire Bear should write all the opinions. We're still winning on guns, and we're offended, but just because it's a horrible impression. No, my Trump impression is the best. There's none that have ever been better. But I like it's one of those things now. When it comes to we want folks to support a good right Republican, you and I have kind of disagreed on what that is in the
Can
past.
we compromise on DeSantis, please?
I will say this. My plan is to, as it stands right now, so long as there's no fuckery at the convention, my ultimate plan is to ultimately support whoever the Republicans nominate in 2024. That is my ultimate plan. So long as there's no fuckery at the convention, I think that's so. Whether it be Trump, which I prefer Trump, to be honest with you. DeSantis, I could deal with him just because he could get a second term afterwards would be the only advantage I see towards him, because Trump, if we send Trump back for another 4 years, that's just going to be like literal bull in China shop. That's like, if you can think of a bigger middle finger to the American political establishment that you can send with a single ballot other than voting for Donald J. Trump in 2024, I'd like to hear it.
I'm voting for Kanye.
Yeah, but he has no chance.
True.
Trump has a chance. So yes, folks, the administration of extreme jealousy does not become you. Tiberius and I work for the CIA. Food is the number one weapon. We have to grow the farm up. Ag Secretary Tyberius D, my Secretary of State, because I got to appease the moderate Republicans. The folks are going to vote for Mitt Romney. So Tiberius is perfect for that. And it's just as perfect. And he wants Nate Dallin to be Attorney General. So the two of them can just kind of like double team me in the fucking office, just like, no, Phil, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, gotta. And so I could see that, but no, Nate, his place is on the Supreme Court, whether he knows it or not. So that was a fun little run-in from Tiberius, folks. Now, guess what? That run-in interrupted some things. Tell you what I'll do. If I ever get back, I promise to refabricate you, raging rivers of gold. That's what the brochure advertised. And now we're lost, we gotta take it down. Let you down slow, it's hard to survive. El Dorado. Oh, Lord. Well, let's see how that one went.
Yeah.